What's up, guys? Obviously, it's Captain Obvious, and I'm getting a lot of requests to show you guys exactly what my video editing process is and what my render settings are, so you guys know exactly what they are. I'm going to do a video for that right now. I'm going to take you guys through my entire editing process, through the preparation stages and through the capture stages into the editing and for the final render out of iMovie. And now it's a lot of stuff I gotta go over today, and to begin with, let's just get started right with it. So now I'm gonna pull over my capture software. Now it all starts right here with my capture software. Game Capture HD is the one of the best console, if not the best console gameplay recorders out there. I love it a lot, the Elgato, and it's a really nice software, number one, and it records in great quality. So pretty much what I do is I come in here. My profile is HD 720, best quality. I don't do any of the color correction in the actual recording. I do that once I get into my post-processing. But these are pretty much my capture settings. It's really not anything that too advanced. It's just recording the best quality, and I have 720p recording. And then I'll press this record button here. It'll record, like 10 minutes of gameplay. And then I'll move into editing. And now what the editing thing in this software does is it allows me to trim the clip. Like, let's say there's a death in here I don't want to include, or a life I don't want to include. I'll trim it out in here. I'll export it to my desktop, and I'll import it back into iMovie. It's a really nice thing, and it works flawlessly. It's a great editing software, and I couldn't be any happier about this. So let's minimize this. And then, so whenever I make a recording, it always goes into this folder on my desktop. It's the Game Capture HD library. And now I usually have two folders in here. One is regular captures for normal, like other games that's not Battlefield, like Skyrim, Borderlands, things like that, will go into their own folder called Capture 1, Capture 2, so on and so forth, up to however many captures I have. But Battlefield is my one folder I have for most of my stuff. And then here we have the recommended armory setups and recoil will go in this folder. Then I usually have regular gameplays in here. And then in here I will have the gameplay itself for each of the armory episode. And I also record all my stuff into a separate folder for the Dawn Guard Let's Play. So here's the pure, what am I trying to say? Actual recordings of it. They are usually about 12 gigabytes files. This one was only 4. Wow, that was a short one as well. But they're really big files. And so it gets to be a lot of stuff I got to import into iMovie, but it's really not that bad. And then I have my completed segments here. Usually when I render them out, they're usually around 1.5 to 2 gigabytes in terms of size. And then my audio recordings from GarageBand are all in here as well. And they're also in iTunes, where I eventually transfer them over into to seamlessly get all that stuff into iMovie. Now, iMovie is probably the biggest thing that I do in terms of my editing. Pull it over here. And this is what my editing software looks like. It's nothing that advanced like, your Sony Vegas or Final Cut Pro, but it still does the job for me very, very well, and I couldn't be any happier with what this offers to me. So this is my event library up here, where it pretty much has all my imported gameplays. And this right here is the PP2000 recoil segment I recorded last night for the rep and review I'm putting up on Pixel Enemy within the week. And then as you go down here, we have more gameplays, such as PP2000 No Shark Canals gameplay. Then we move down to QBZ95. Here's the Dawn Guard stuff, Armored Warfare, and some AKS-74U gameplay that I have yet to use. So that's my event library. And then I move down into here where my actual projects are. And this is where I actually edit my stuff. Now, usually this is up here, but I moved it around so the capture window is actually bigger because I don't need a big event library window. I just need a bigger project library. So let's take a look at what my editing process is for an armory episode per se. So this is pretty much what it looks like. It's a simple, I forget what the word is, but it's very simple. It's just a very nice layout for how I have my transitions in here, my slides, and for my actual gameplay between the slides. It's very awesome, very easy to use, and I couldn't be any happier with what I have right here. It's actually a lot simpler than most extreme editing softwares out there, and it still gives me all the options that I have. And now the one thing that I always preach most about in terms of Apple products and their applications is their seamless integration with the rest of the applications on the computer. And now here I have an easy access to all my iTunes recordings. Here I can access all my iPhoto pictures. Some nice titles and stuff. I have some transitions here. And then over here are maps, backgrounds, and things like that I can actually add into the video to make it a little more beautiful. And then that's pretty much all I have in terms of these projects that I added down here. Usually what I'll do is I'll click on this little blue box here. I will trim my video clip so that it's not, the black bars are on the top and the bottom to make it a little less, a little more beautiful. And then I'll go on the video adjustments. And the video adjustments is where you will change the color correction. And pretty much all I do is I just slide the slider back and forth for the levels of color that I want. Further down this way is more, I don't know, I'm not going to say more vibrant colors. It just gets a little bit darker while making the colors vibrant. By default, it's at 0%, which is pretty much what you record your actual whole thing as with my game capture software. But I usually bump it up to 3% to make it a little darker while increasing the colors, because once the upload goes to YouTube, it gets a little bit brighter, which I really don't like. I like making it a little bit darker so the colors are more vibrant. But that's what it is for this. It's pretty simple. And then eventually when my project's actually done, I review it in here, I'll go into my render. And now rendering on the iMovie is very easy. I used to export movie, just plain, it would just do default settings. But now what I do is I export using QuickTime. Oop, not iMovie, FCP XML. I'll export using QuickTime. And this is where I can change every single setting I need for my actual video. And as you can see here, I have video, sound, and internet streaming settings. My video settings are pretty basic. My compression type is X264 encoder, or something I just downloaded the other day. My frame rates stay the same. It's all automatic. I do not frame reorder. Data rate is restricted to 10,000 kilobits per second, which translates over to 10 megabytes per second, which is, I think, the top it can be for 720p. Quality is the best, and I have a multi-pass encoding to make it a lot more crisp. And then I have my advanced options in here where I can change all the stuff that has to, affects my codec. These are the settings I use. I'm not really going to talk through them right now. You can look at them yourself. But that's pretty much all that I use. And then after that, I'll move into my sound settings. I usually do an AAC format for sound. I'll have stereo sound, a 44.1 kilohertz rate. And then my render settings are usually normal audio. It's really not that much of a difference between normal, better, best, fast, whatever. Normal's fine for me, and I usually render out in 128 kilobytes per second. And then finally, I always have to prepare for internet streaming because it makes the quality a little bit better than it already is. And then I will, save it in here, change the name of it, and I will export it to my desktop when I press save. And that's my whole rendering process. It's pretty basic. I really don't need anything too advanced for what I'm doing right now. But let's move into how I actually make an Armory episode so you guys know exactly what I do. Now, I am very old school. I use PowerPoint for making my slides. And I have some nice themes in here. As I go down the list, you can see exactly what these look like. It's a nice background. I have some text boxes and pictures in those circles. This is pretty much what the iMovie process is for me. Just keep going down. Oops, sorry, I don't mean iMovie. I mean PowerPoint. This is how I'm making my slides for the Armory. And then once I'm done with those, I will save them to my desktop in a picture format in 16:9 aspect ratio. And I will add them into iPhoto. So then I can take them directly from here and put them right into my movie. It's really simple and easy. There's problems with directly dragging and dropping a picture into iMovie, but this makes it a whole lot easier for me. And then what I do is after I'm done with all that stuff, I will load up my internet browser. I'll go to YouTube. I'll, click upload. Everyone knows what those are. And I'll just select a file from my desktop. I'll enter in all of the, what's it called? Like information, title, description, tags, things like that. And that'll pretty much be my final editing process for you guys. So, in conclusion, my editing process is not as advanced as it is for other people. I do have a very high quality gameplay that I import into iMovie. It is some of the best out there in terms of the video quality. I'm very pleased with what I have. And by the way, I did fix the blurry blacks in my videos. I actually have a few new import settings that will change when I import my videos into iMovie. As you can tell, I'm going to play this clip for you here and try to find blurry blacks. They would normally be in here, but they're really not. And I'm really pleased with what I found out how to do this. I do not optimize the video into Apple codec anymore. That's what my problem was. It would take a whole lot longer to optimize a video, decreasing the quality while transferring it over to Apple's codec. I completely stopped that. My import are no longer like 2 hours for a 10-minute clip. It's like 5 minutes now for a 10-minute clip, which is awesome. Video quality stays crisp and clean. I couldn't be any happier with it as of right now. So that's pretty much everything I have to show you guys. If you have any more questions, please ask me down in the comment section below. I'd be happy to answer anything. And if you have specific questions regarding how to use iMovie, how to use any Apple software out there, direct them to me via private message on YouTube. I will be pleased to answer those questions. If you guys enjoyed today's video, remember to give it a thumbs up. That helps out a lot. And as always, rate, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.